The story begins with a mute girl named Mo in a room full of people. They are pressuring her to get married to someone. However, she writes in a piece of paper that she doesn't want to. Judging by the expression on her face, this isn't the first time they are forcing her. Unfortunately, the people don't listen to her and forcefully lock her in a room with a man named Kwan Yusi. He's revealed to be the CEO of a multi-million-dollar company. The scene then shifts to 3 days earlier, where we see Mo writing in her bedroom. Just then, her evil cousin Xiang arrives and begins pestering her for money. She even hits her a couple of times to assert her dominance. Fortunately, Mo's aunt arrives there and stops the commotion. After sending the bitch away, she consoles our girl and says that she's found a handsome man for her. From their conversation, it's revealed that Mo's uncle is very sick and they don't have enough money to pay for his medical bills. As a last resort, the aunt begs her to marry a rich boy so that their problems can be solved. Mo is clearly uncomfortable with this request, but she eventually agrees for the sake of her uncle. In the present, she and Yu are still locked up in a room. When he suddenly wakes up and drags her into bed, she passes out due to fear. The next day, we notice that Yu is paralyzed, and he asks about the girl who entered the room late at night. Meanwhile, Mo is currently being confined to another room by the Kwan family, where she is being subjected to mistreatment. Turns out, a shaman had informed them that only a girl with a disability could awaken Yu from his coma, which turned out to be true. In the next scene, Mo is finally permitted to go back home. However, upon reaching there, her neighbor informs her that her aunt and her cousin have sold the house and moved away. Our girl is shocked that they didn't pay her uncle's medical bills and just ran off like that. Having no other option, she returns to Yu and pleads with him to help her sick uncle. She also mentions that she has nowhere else to go, so she is willing to be his maid. The latter is aware his family mistreated her, so he lets her stay out of pity. He also orders his assistant to clear her uncle's medical bills. Later, as Mo tries to get him some water, she accidentally drops the glass and injures her hand. Yu rushes to check what happened, and this is when he comes face to face with Bai. It's revealed that the woman has liked him for years, but he has rejected her every time. She claims that the maid dropped the glass on purpose, but Mo's expression says otherwise. When Yu asks why she's there, she says that she's come to visit him. However, he finds her annoying and asks her to leave the house. On the other hand, Yu's family is discussing the accident that left him crippled. His father believes that it was planned, but his stepmother and stepbrother Chen say it was just an accident. Throughout the conversation, these two talk strangely, indicating that they're hiding something. The following day, Yu and Mo come across her aunt and cousin on TV, shamelessly fabricating stories and accusing the Kwan family of torturing her. This worries our girl, but Yu assures her that everything will be fine and that he will handle the situation. However, after some time, Mo takes matters into her own hands and appears before the press with signs. She states that she's not a victim of abuse, but she is willingly working for Yu, who treats her kindly. She further insists that her aunt and cousin should be sued for defamation and lying. Later, Yu is scolded by his father, who tells him that their company is doing poorly since he awoke, and now Mo's family is damaging their reputation. He informs his son that he must fire the girl to avoid further problems. Unfortunately, Mo overhears the conversation and feels shattered. She doesn't want to burden the family, so she quietly leaves the household. Later, while sitting in a park, she's approached by Chen, who offers to help. He gives her an apartment, claiming it's his way of thanking her for helping his brother. Our innocent Mo has nowhere to go, so she accepts without thinking twice. On the other hand, Yu grows worried for her, so he asks his assistant to look for her. A few days later, while Mo is eating with Chen at the apartment, the doorbell rings, and it turns out to be Yu. He is disappointed with his stepbrother for deceiving him like this. Mo tries to explain, but he simply asks her to come back with him. The following day, the two confront her aunt and cousin, and they reluctantly reveal that they created the scandal because an anonymous girl paid them. Hearing this, Mo is shocked, and she wonders who could be so evil. After scolding his aunt and cousin, Yu orders them to leave the city, or else he will press charges. He also offers our girl a job at his company because she appears to be educated and has prior experience. The very next day, she begins her work with great determination and enthusiasm. But unfortunately, the other employees start talking behind her back. They make fun of her appearance and ridicule her for being mute. Her department's head also assigns her a very difficult task with an impossible deadline. Yu's assistant observes this from a distance, and he informs his boss about it. That evening, as Mo is engrossed in her work, Yu arrives and offers to help her. Much to his surprise, she reveals that she's already done. The following day, Mo submits her work, but her rude boss asserts that it's incomplete. He plans to fire her, but just then, Yu appears to defend our girl. He demands that the man complete the work himself and submit it in 24 hours, or else he will be fired. One day, while Yu is alone at home, Bai arrives and secretly spikes his water. Meanwhile, Mo tries to contact him through text, but receives no message. As she grows worried, Chen approaches her and abruptly confesses his feelings. But she replies that she only sees him as a friend, breaking his heart. When Mo returns home, she discovers that Yu has been drugged and is arguing with Bai. He is shouting at the woman and cursing at her to go away. Soon the bitch leaves, and a semi-conscious Yu takes this opportunity to confess to our girl. He even kisses her on the lips and pins her to the ground to do more. However, she somehow gets up, grabs a glass of water, and splashes it on him. A little while later, Yu comes to his senses and realizes that Bai had drugged him. Regardless, he tells Mo that he genuinely likes her, and she responds by kissing him on the cheek. Following this, the two kiss each other passionately and spend the night becoming intimate. A month passes by and Mo discovers that she's pregnant. However, since she was dealing with many issues, she decides to postpone sharing the news with him. Meanwhile, Bai learns from the housekeeper that Mo has purchased a pregnancy test, which is confirmed to be positive. So she arrives at the house while our girl is alone and pretends to be her friend. She then offers her some soup, claiming Yu sent it. Mo reluctantly consumes it and soon begins to feel sick. Seeing this, Bai begins to laugh and declares that Yu will never marry someone as lowly as her. She also lies, saying that it was he who had sent her to abort the baby. Meanwhile, Yu is at an office meeting where his shareholders argue that he should not be president because he's crippled. To their surprise, he unexpectedly gets up and states that he's never been disabled. This enrages Chen, and he accuses our hero of deceiving him until now. After a while, the two brothers talk in private, and Yu admits that he's aware Chen tried to murder him. Turns out, the latter was adopted by the family after his stepmother wasn't able to have a child. However, in reality, she just wanted to use him to get to the family property. She never cared about him and treated him very poorly. Yu wants to help his brother and suggests he move abroad for a while. However, Chen angrily says that he doesn't need his pity and will turn himself in to the authorities. The scene then cuts to Mo, who is lying on the floor. She is in a lot of pain after consuming the soup, and it appears that her baby has passed away. Overwhelmed with grief, she begins to think of her late father. Sometime later, she awakens in the hospital to see a wealthy businessman named Huang in front of her. He informs her that he saw her unconscious and brought her to the hospital. After being discharged, Mo quickly calls Yu, but Bai hovers around him, preventing him from answering the phone. Soon they come out of the office and are swarmed by reporters. Our heroine notices this from a distance and wrongly assumes that they must have conspired to kill her baby. So, with a heavy heart, she decides to leave him for good. She then seeks Juan's help, fleeing the country. Surprisingly, Mo, who has been mute for all these years, can now speak again. After she leaves, Yu grows desperate and looks for her everywhere, but to no avail. He suspects Bai had something to do with this, so he confronts her. However, she insists she had nothing to do with it. The scene then shifts to 3 years later, when Mo returns to China as a successful and confident woman. She meets with Yu to discuss his company's acquisition, shocking him. Bai is also there, and she is taken aback to learn that our girl is no longer mute. During the meeting, Yu instructs everyone to leave and takes a moment to kiss Mo. However, she responds with a hard slap and leaves the room. Later, he discovers her address and goes to her hotel room to talk to her. However, her assistant intervenes and chases him away. That evening, Yu attends a party where Mo is also present. He ignores all the girls and approaches her, but she is very cold to him. He wonders why she suddenly left him 3 years ago, but she doesn't respond. Turns out that her cousin Xiang, who is now an actress, is also at the party. So, Mo confronts her angrily and reminds her of all the wrong she's done in her past. She also threatens Xiang that she won't leave her alone unless she takes her to her parents. Later, Yu waits outside Mo's hotel until she arrives very drunk. He then takes her to her room and places her in bed. As he watches her sleep, she grabs him and tells him how much she misses him. In response, he kisses her and walks out of the room. The following day, he returns with breakfast for Mo and again asks her why she left him. However, their moment is cut short by Huang's unexpected arrival. Yu is upset by his presence, so he hastily walks out of the room. Days later, terrible news about Mo's parents spreads, claiming that they've been murdered by loan sharks. This tarnishes her reputation, and she becomes the talk of the nation. At that moment, Yu arrives and assures her that he will do everything to help her. After some investigation, they discover that Xiang and another actress are behind the scandal. They eventually catch these girls and decide to sue them for defamation. After further investigation, Mo discovers that her parents died due to her uncle's actions, who had borrowed a significant amount of money for his business. So she visits the old man and asks him to tell her the truth. However, he lies and claims that he has nothing to do with the matter. As a result, Mo's childhood memories are triggered, and she finds it difficult to speak once again. Later, the enraged Yu arrives to see the uncle and urges him to speak the truth. He reveals how Mo cared for him when his wife and daughter abandoned him. Without her, the uncle would have died long ago. Hearing this, the old man becomes emotional, and he finally decides to do what's right. The next day, he informs the press about what really happened. His daughter tries to stop him, but the man reveals that he borrowed significant sums of money from a loan shark and then blamed it on his brother, which led to his and his wife's murder. Moments later, Mo arrives and thanks her uncle for raising her. However, she also states that she will never forgive him for what he did. As she leaves the place in tears, Yu arrives to comfort her in this difficult moment. Days later, Mo plans to acquire Bai's company, which is on the brink of bankruptcy. That afternoon, Huang suggests that she return to the United States, but she subtly rejects him since she realizes that he's interested in her. Afterwards, she meets with Bai to discuss business, and a heated argument ensues. Mo angrily reminds her about the child she lost because of her, and at that moment, Yu arrives and overhears everything. He is shocked to learn that Mo was pregnant 3 years ago. As he asks for forgiveness, our girl is also surprised as she was under the impression that he knew everything. The two then sort out their differences and emotionally hug each other. Afterward, Yu approaches Bai and warns her that he will make her pay for everything she did. The next day, he visits Mo and pleads for another chance for the relationship. As she still loves him, she promptly agrees. But when the couple are about to kiss, they are interrupted by the arrival of Huang. He is clearly jealous of our couple's relationship and decides to do something about it. The following evening, he drugs Mo and takes her to his apartment. There, he proposes to her, saying he loves her a lot, but she coldly rejects him. She says that she has never had any romantic feelings for him. This enrages the guy so much that he begins to force himself on her, but before he can do anything, Yu arrives there and begins hitting him violently. After this, the couple proceeds to walk away, but Bai unexpectedly appears and tries to stab Mo. However, Huang intervenes and in the nick of time, saves her. Although he's wounded, he survives the attack. As for the bitch Bai, she is sentenced to 10 years in jail. The story comes to an end with our beloved couple getting married and happily living the life they deserve.